How to get a vintage look in Adobe Lightroom using lens imperfections. Have you ever wondered how to achieve that charming vintage look in your photographs? Well, today we are going to discuss how to do just that using lens imperfections in Adobe Lightroom. Vintage photos often have a unique character, and we can recreate that using some simple adjustments. Let's get started. First, you want to begin with a well-exposed and color-balanced image. This is your neutral base. Use Lightroom's basic adjustments to correct the exposure and white balance. A clean starting point is essential for the best results. Next, head over to the Lens Corrections panel in the Develop module. Typically, this panel is used to fix distortions and vignetting, but we will do the opposite for a vintage effect. Disable profile corrections to allow some natural lens distortion to show. Now let's add some vignetting. Vintage lenses often have darker edges, so increase the vignetting amount to darken the corners of your image. This creates a subtle frame around your subject, adding to that vintage feel. You can also play with distortion and chromatic aberration. Instead of fully correcting these, leave a bit of color fringing or add slight distortion. This mimics the flaws found in older lenses, giving your photo an authentic vintage touch. Moving on to the effects panel, let's add some grain. Vintage photos typically have a film grain texture. Increase the grain slider to add that texture. You can adjust the size and roughness to suit your taste. Next, we will adjust the tone curve and colors. To create a faded look, lift the blacks by raising the left bottom point of the curve and slightly lower the highlights. This reduces contrast, resembling aged prints. For warmth, shift the white balance toward yellow or orange tones. You can also use the split toning panel to add warm highlights and cooler shadows, enhancing that vintage aesthetic. Now let's talk about softness. While Lightroom doesn't have a direct lens blur tool, you can simulate softness by lowering the clarity and texture sliders in the basic panel. This mimics the softer focus of older lenses. If you want to speed up the process, consider using presets designed for vintage looks. These often include lens imperfection effects like vignetting and grain. Additionally, you can add dust or scratches overlays in Photoshop after exporting from Lightroom for an even more authentic vintage feel. By intentionally introducing lens imperfections such as vignetting, distortion, and grain within Lightroom's lens corrections and effects panels, you can recreate that nostalgic vintage aesthetic. This method combines technical correction tools with creative adjustments, making it easy to achieve a convincing vintage photo style.